What is up, everybody, and welcome to One Shot at Broken Age. I'm Abatage, and I've already played through this game to its completion because I couldn't stop as soon as I started, which should already tell you how much I like this game. And it's pretty popular at the moment. It just came out. It's a fairly big deal. It's one of the biggest kickstarters that has ever happened, at the time at least. It was the first one I ever backed, and I think it was the first one a lot of people backed. I think I'll say it's arguably one of the Kickstarters that put Kickstarter on the map. So it's nice to see it already getting released, although it's getting released in two parts, as you are probably well aware of. This is Act 1, and we're going to have a look at a couple of things and just basically have a little talk about it because I don't want to give away too much, and I was contemplating whether to do a full playthrough of this game because it really is that good and I would love to show it off. But then I also thought maybe I'll do one when Act 2 comes out and do the whole freaking thing because I think that'll be worth it. So we might have that sometime in the future, in a few months when it comes out. But for now, let's have a little quick look and we'll play through a bit of the story while we talk about it. You can see I've got some saves there which I have previously been playing. And essentially, I'm not going to talk too much about the story or the content of the game, but I'm going to talk about what I like and dislike about it, I guess. So, for those who haven't really heard much about it and have been perhaps living under a bit of a rock, because it's kind of hard to avoid Broken Age at this point in time, it's a point-and-click adventure by Double Fine and Tim Schafer, and you know the ones behind all the great point-and-clicks and games that I love, like Brutal Legend and Psychonauts and Day of the Tentacle and, you know, those cool games. So we've got two characters that basically have tandem stories, so you can play one at a time. And to be honest, I think I prefer Vela's story. This is Vela over here, this is Shay. And they're both fantastic, but I have a little bit of a preference for Vela's, I think, because it's a little bit more like the original kind of, I guess, the point and clicks. So essentially, yeah, it's all mouse driven. You point somewhere on the screen, you click it, and something happens. So at the moment, Vela over here is
it's time to face the cupcakes.
Getting called by her little sister or something like that over here. And this is very much a traditional kind of point and click, as in, you know, there are things to pick up and items to pick up and stuff.
Sugar bunting, where the sweetness is baked right in.
So, can I pick that up? No.
Sugar
Okay.
bunting, where the sweetness is baked right in.
So let's go talk to her sister, so that we can get into it, and then we'll talk about what's going on and what's good and bad.
There you are. I was getting worried.
Worried that I chickened out?
No, I know you're not afraid of anything.
I mean, what's to fear? This is a great honor.
Right. Wait, I can't tell if you're being serious.
Well, there is one part that I'm really afraid of.
What's that?
I'm afraid that you won't get any food because I'm gonna beat you to the Maiden's Feast.
Dream on.
So basically the story of Vela's part in the tale is that she lives in this town where they have this thing called the Maiden's Feast, which is essentially where the town sacrifices girls to a big old monster that will come and chew them up.
Okay, shut up, you guys. She's coming.
And yeah, so Vela's a bit like, well, do I have to?
Surprise!
Whoa.
Yay!
There's my Valoria. Oh, look at my pretty girl. I can't believe. I just can't believe.
We're very proud of you. I think that's what your mother is trying to say.
Oh, she's not even dressed yet?
Can we do that after cake? Come on, cake first.
All right, but come on. Let's get this good time over with. Oh, yes, cake. Now, where did I put that knife? Nobody touches that cake until I find the ceremonial knife.
Okay, so there is a fair bit of dialogue in this, and that's why I wanted to wait till we basically got to this point, because now I can just click around. I've got to solve the puzzle of finding her knife. And so we can click on things and look at stuff, and it's generic point and click
Maybe the knife is under
style
this
of
towel.
gameplay.
Never gonna find it.
Dad, I hope you're not hiding that knife for your own good.
And
Don't touch the red ones. Mom made those just for me.
You're going to eat all of those?
I've already had 6.
That explains a lot.
and you can see a little bit of the old Tim Schafer sense of humor there, and it's just fantastic. So I'm not going to click around too much at the moment, but you've got your inventory down here. So you can see I picked up that towel, I've picked up a cupcake from here when I clicked on there, and I can click over to Shay to play his story and play his part of the game at any time. So I can switch between the two characters and the two stories to do that. And there are settings here as well. Turn subtitles on and off, volume controls. There's not a whole heap of settings or anything like that involved, but it is a fairly, you know, you don't really need it. You know, it's all 2D animated, and it's got such a fantastic art style, and it's just so lovely to look at. And yeah, you don't need to tweak settings way too much anyway, I don't think. Let's have a little chat
You know
to the
where
sister.
Mom's knife is, Rocky?
If I did, we'd all be eating cake right now.
Yep. And the voice acting is really good as well, I have to say. There aren't really any characters that annoy me. In fact, there's some that are way better than others. Like that I go, oh, that's such a cool character. But
Don't suppose you have another knife in the back we
they
can
all
use?
are voiced really well,
But your
and
mom brought out a special
the
one she
writing
wants
is
to use.
stellar.
She wants
Like,
everything to be perfect on your special
it's
day.
so good. Yeah. And
What is it, girl?
it's really funny. And so here we've got some dialogue options which you do get throughout the story, and sometimes you will make choices that means you will miss one of them, like you won't get to see them all. I know specifically one option in Shay's story, there's one where you can choose 3 of the 4 essentially, so once you've chosen 3 you don't get the 4th one.
Any idea where Mom's knife is?
We're late. If I knew, I would have cut that cake, shoved it down your gullets, and had us out the door already. Oh!
So why don't we just fight Mog Chothra?
Silence! Talk like that could ruin the maiden's feast. If you destroy the feast, Mog Chothra will destroy this village, including your family. Is that what you want?
No. Can I ask you about the Maiden's Feast?
Aren't you paying attention in maiden training?
So yeah, there's lots of different things here which
How many of these
I'm
feasts
going
have
to
you
talk over
organized?
because otherwise we're never going
A
to
new
be able to talk about the
grandma
game.
appears every 14 years and
But having played through the entire
Hey,
story, I have to say
trying to get
it's
my age
really
out of
good.
me?
It's really well
I'll
written.
never tell.
There's a lot of really good characters and really
Where do creatures
funny
like Mog Chothra come from?
They come
dialogue
from
and that sort of thing, and
beyond
like
the
kooky
plague
characters, and yeah, it's really cool. And I would highly recommend playing through it and for yourself and experiencing it yourself. And the art is great, and the music's wonderful, and the characters and the
What is
dialogue,
Mog
and
Chothra?
yeah, it's a really good game. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. I have a couple of things to say though, which aren't necessarily great, I guess. Now this is essentially what they call a backer beta,
How much do we know
so it's
about
only
these
available
grand
for
mogs?
backers at the moment who back the Kickstarter, and they're calling it a bit of a beta, so I'm assuming that it's going to get updated before the full release or something like that. But we're only talking about a 2-week kind of window here, so I don't know how much they're going to be able to update before they release it
You
to the
actually
general
imagine
public
that?
anyway. So I don't know how much will be changed by the time,
Okay. I think
you know,
I
by the
all
time
I
the full
need to
game comes
know
out.
about the Maiden's
But I have
Feast.
noticed there
All
are
you need to know
a
is how
few
to
little
clean
niggly
your
kind of
dress.
graphic
We'll take
bugs
care
here
of
and
the rest.
there, and I've had
I better go look for that knife.
it did
And
crash on me
hurry.
once,
If we're late, you won't be selected and your
where I
family
just
will
went
be
into another
shamed.
room and it just crashed completely back to the desktop. So I'm not sure what that's about. And there's a couple of things like that where you
Mom,
just kind of go,
I was
ooh,
just
that needs to be
wondering,
fixed.
What if we fought the monster
So
instead of
hopefully,
eating it?
I have my
That's
fingers
my
crossed that
girl.
they'll have that stuff
Now
fixed
that's Beastender blood talking.
before
Please, my loves. Don't make
the
this any
public
harder
release
than it
comes out,
already
because
is.
if they fix those, this is a near perfect game, as far as I'm concerned. However, the other thing that I think might put some people off is that the puzzles are pretty lightweight. Like, they're not all that difficult, really. At least not in Act 1. Maybe they ramp up in Act 2. I don't know. But as someone who played, you know, Day of the Tentacle and Monkey Island and, you know, all the LucasArts games like Indiana Jones and that sort of thing back in the day, which were all great point-and-click adventures, in comparison to those, this game has some very light puzzling. Like, very light. It's
Grandpa Beastender?
very, very simplified and very,
Do you know where Mom's knife is?
Wouldn't tell
easy
you
to
if I
figure
did.
out.
I'm not doing one thing to help with this shame feast.
This guy's a good character, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this Maiden's Feast either, to tell you the truth.
Then fight it, girl. Stand up for yourself.
I hope you're not filling that girl's head with nonsense, Brommel.
Bromwell's awesome. So, if you're hoping for a real old-school adventure game, difficult puzzles with, you know, random combinations of items and stuff to get the solution, you're probably not going to find it here, at least not in Act 1, because I found it was pretty straightforward to basically breeze through all the puzzles and just kind of play through the story and then complete it. And there was no real challenges in that sense. Like, you had to still think about stuff and you had to figure it out, but there was
Why do
no
you hate
point
the
where I
Maiden's
kind
Feast,
of went,
Grandpa?
oh shit,
This
I
used
really
to
don't
be
know
a
what to
town
do, and
of
I'm scratching
war
my
and
head and I feel like I've
such
tried everything,
travesty, fella.
like you used to get in those old games.
Why'd we stop being
But
warriors?
in this
That
one,
defense
essentially,
of her ilk said there was too much
you
bloodshed.
can just breeze your way through. Like,
So we went
it's
soft.
pretty straightforward and
Became
there's
a
not a lot
town
to
of
it.
bakers.
So that could be quite disappointing for some people, I think, who want the old school games and who have that nostalgic connection with it and really want to have a real head scratcher.
I'd better go find
You might
that
be
knife.
disappointed with this
Don't you dare.
for
I
that
hid it
reason.
For a reason.
You did what?
Oh, nothing.
So basically now the puzzle that we've got here is that he's hidden the knife. We just found out because he just said. And we need to basically get him to give it up for our mother. So let's do this puzzle real quickly just to show you
Grandpa
what the deal
Beastender?
is.
Hey, Gramps, want a cupcake?
Oh, yes.
I'd better go find that knife.
So he wants a cupcake, essentially. So we can go to our inventory, grab the cupcake, and give it to him.
For you, Grandpa.
Don't mind if I do.
Okay. But that didn't work, did it? So, okay, we're going to have to go grab another one.
Why not?
Yep. And we'll have to come back to the old grandpa and try again.
Grandpa Beastender? I'd better go find that knife.
You can hit space at any time to skip dialogue or
Me?
cutscenes, that sort of thing.
No, Mom says you can't have any. I'm just showing it to you.
I didn't want it anyway.
So that obviously didn't work either. But what we need to do,
For me?
we've got one more option, which is split it with you.
Split it with you?
Deal.
And then he gets out the knife, cuts it in half, and drops the knife. So you can see how that's a very
On second thought, you can have the whole thing.
straightforward puzzle to solve. And sure, it's the first one you really come up against in Vela's story, so it's not going to be
Thing.
really difficult anyway.
I didn't say anything.
But further down the line, they don't get heaps more complex than that either. It's pretty much, that's the standard. So
All right, time to serve this girl
I wouldn't,
up. But first, can I ask just one more time?
yeah, don't be expecting heaps from the puzzles, is what I got to say.
Why don't we just kill Mom Chothra?
The real appeal of this game, I think, is the art and the story. The story is fantastic, and there's heaps of little humor in there. The characters are fantastic. They're developed really well. And, yeah,
Majestic to
they're just
behold, awe-inspiring.
incredible. and it's, if you want the real kind of Double Fine Tim Schafer experience of great characters, great writing, great voice acting, great story, you're going to get it here. This is a fantastic story. and I cannot wait to play Act 2. It took me about 3.5 hours to play through Act 1 for both stories together, like all up everything. So keep that in mind as well if that's going to affect your decision at all.
I know he'll pick you.
But I would still highly recommend it either way. I mean, assuming that 3.5 hours is Act 1 and there's another 3.5 hours for Act 2, then you've got a fairly decent length game for the price, in my book. And it's a really great game, and I would highly recommend it. So that's where we're going to leave it. Now, I think if I go save and exit, that won't kick me out of the game completely. No, we can go back to the main menu. Okay, and I know that didn't really show much of the game, but that's kind of the point, as in I didn't really want to show much of the game, because the discovery of it is really worth it. Like, I avoided everything I could possibly avoid before playing this game, so because I didn't get to play it till like a day after it was released, which was only like yesterday, so it's not like this is very much later either. But playing through it yourself and just discovering everything on your own and really uncovering the story on your own and figuring stuff out on your own is well worth it, and a large part of the appeal of this game. So I definitely recommend, don't watch anything else, anything further, anything like that. Just go buy the damn thing and play it. if you have the option to buy it, I guess. If you're a backer, then you've already got it and you're probably playing it. And if you're not a backer, then it'll be available in the next couple of weeks. So put it on your wish list. You know, do whatever you got to do. You can get a DRM version through Humble, maybe. I'm pretty sure they're going to release DRM free if you're not keen on the Steam thing. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, there's so much polish in this game and so much humor, and I haven't had as much fun with the game as I had with this game for a while, which is a pretty big recommendation in my book, because I've had fun with lots of games lately. But yeah, that's my shot at Broken Age. Couldn't recommend it more. Couldn't add more hyperbole if I tried. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.